The following production is brought to you by the Talkin' Buds Leaf Show.
Oh, baby. Talkin' Buds Leaf Show post-vacation edition. We are back. Little hiatus. Well, I went on vacation. You were still here kicking around.
Yes, I was still here kicking around watching my favorite hockey team just shove it right back into my face.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a second. We take some time off, or I take some time off. We come back. We have all kinds of things to discuss. We've got Mitch Marner breaking records. We've got injuries galore. We've got Matt Murray continuing his sensational play in between the pipes. Ilya Samsonov back from injury. But as you just alluded to, you have something off the top of this episode that you would like to get off your chest.
Yeah, I would just like to formally, I don't know if apologize is the right word, but man, did I overreact at the start of this season. Did I cry like a little bitch or what? Like, we were literally crying our faces off.
Yeah, we were crying. We were sitting here 4 games in being like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
What are we watching?
Yeah, we were crying. And guess what? It's all round into shape. You look at the standings. You look at the way they're playing. Like, that is just a classic example of just overreacting and kind of letting the carryover of the playoffs kind of carry over to the start of the regular season.
Well, and they have a track record for not starting quickly. So do you feel stupid for just not? Because there were the people who were freaking out, and then there were the people who were like, it's early. So do you feel like we should, like, if you could go back in time, would you tell yourself it's early, Ryan?
I would have eased off a bit. It was bad, and I was upset, and clearly it carries over from the devastation you suffer every April. But like I guess what I'm saying is I always knew deep down they were just going to round into shape and just be the same hockey team that they've been through the past couple seasons. Like they're one of the best regular season hockey teams in the NHL.
I would argue this is the best version of the Maple Leafs that I've seen in this era with this core. I thought ahead of the Tampa game, John Cooper said it best. They interviewed him in the pregame, and he said, in previous years, the Maple Leafs were a team that wanted to go out there and they wanted to beat you 6-5. And when I look at the team now, I see a team that is totally content to play a style that can win a 2-1 hockey game. And that's exactly what I see too. I was watching them because, like, I was away on vacation, but I was still, like, I've always got the game on, whether it's on my iPad, on my phone, whatever. I'm keeping an eye on it, which my wife loves.
Yeah.
But I'm just sitting there, and I texted you during the week. I'm like, this is the best I've ever seen them play.
Yeah, they've been unbelievable, and their top players have been unbelievable, and They've been contributing, and they've just rounded into form. Like, it's not going to be perfect. They're not the best team in the NHL, but I just felt bad watching these games being like, boy, did I cry. Did I ever cry and make myself kind of sound like an idiot? But, I mean, you kind of live in the moment with this hockey team, so I can't get too mad at myself. But they've really rounded into shape. Like, it's just now we're back to just this team having a great regular season, like, all over again.
Again, though, before we move on from this, I just want to hit, this is different. This feels different to me just because of the way they're playing. Like, they're down Riley and Brody on the back end, and they're still, like their defensive play. Timothy Liljegren, I cannot say enough about this guy. Like, I love watching Timothy Liljegren play hockey. He's a top 4 defenseman on this team. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, no. And I think with the guys going down, the D-men going down, it hasn't been ideal for the team, but it's been kind of nice for these guys to step up and play a larger role. Like Rasmus Sandin's probably the happiest guy in the world. He was talking about getting forced out of the lineup for Jordy Ben at one point. And now he's playing on the second pair for this hockey team, playing pretty well. Looks pretty good on the power play. I mean, it's not perfect. I want Morgan Riley back. I want Brody back, but I just it's been nice to see these guys step up and play a role. And this team, they're a good regular season hockey team.
I can't say enough about the leadership intangibles that Mark Giordano brings night in and night out. You can see it when you watch the games. You can see how vital he is, and he steps up. This is a former Norris Trophy winner who, in NHL years, is a senior citizen, and he is their number one guy back there right now. And Keefe is leaning on him every single night, and he's in the middle of scrums, and he's sticking up for guys, and he totally picked up where Jason Spezza left off when it comes to like having an important veteran in the room around these guys.
Yeah, they're basically the same guy. I mean, he's been good. He's kind of looks a little slow out there sometimes, I'm not going to lie, but he's been good. He's been good. And that's been kind of the whole story about this whole hockey team. They've all been pretty good. And it's been nice to have him step into that role because personally, I was Jason Spezza's biggest fan at one point.
Yeah, you were. Well, I thought you were far from his only fan. There was tons of his only fans.
Jason Spezza.
You were signing up. You were signing up for Jason Spezza's OnlyFans when he was playing.
Honestly, I might. I actually might. Better be under like $15.99 though.
Talk to me a little bit about Matt Murray. What do you see when you watch Matt Murray? Mitch Marner is obviously the main topic on this episode today, but I'm pushing it. I'm kicking that can down the road because we've got a lot to talk about when it comes to him. But first, talk to me about Matt Murray.
I've always liked Matt Murray. When have I ever come on this podcast and said one bad thing about Matt Murray? Never. And I kind of take the temperature of other Leaf fans, and regardless of how well this guy plays, people still doubt him. But man, look at the numbers. He's just been solid. He's been good.
The only thing I doubt about him is like you see someone run into him out there, and you're just you hold your breath. You're just like, oh my God, please. But it's funny, like there's a lot of discussion this week about the goaltending situation in Edmonton. And
boy.
And there's a lot of people who, and listen, you came on here at the beginning of this episode 7 minutes ago and you ate crow and said you cried like a little bitch.
Yeah.
One thing we do not have to eat crow on is from the get-go. When we found out that Jack Campbell was not re-signing here, we were like, thanks, Jack.
I think we championed that cause.
We did. And so we're going to sit here now and we're going to boast about how I didn't think it was that big of a risk going compared to what else was out there and what their other options were. I don't think it was that big of a risk to go with Murray and Samsonov. Thus far, it hasn't. Both of them have been great. Also, props to Eric Shalgren, who has stepped in and played well for them when they've needed him. Yeah. And I also think, like, is it a hot take to say that, like, Matt Murray just didn't want to be in Ottawa?
Probably.
Yeah,
or, like, sometimes you go somewhere and it doesn't work out. It gets stale. Like, he never got a good start. He never got a good jump, and it just went all downhill from there. I just think that their goaltending situation this year is in a place where if you look at last year's situation, it's laughable how much better in a position they are this year in the net. Like the last year, I like looking back on it, we had Jack Campbell, a guy who never played a full season, and Peter Moran. Like these two guys, I feel way better about the goaltending situation this year, which is everything. That's enough to make you feel confident that they're gonna have a better season this year than they did last year. Like I think they've both been phenomenal. Everyone's numbers have been good. It's kind of nice that when they're both healthy, you can kind of trade them in and out. One game. And I feel pretty confident about it. They both have good numbers. You know what I like about Matt Murray too? The guy's huge.
Yeah, he is huge.
That's huge in the net. He's massive.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel better.
His reads, like his anticipation is fantastic. Like the way he gets over, like if the other team's coming in on him on a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-2, his ability to read that play and get over and make the save is very impressive.
Yeah.
It's very, very impressive.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone's kind of waiting for him to not almost get injured again, but waiting for him to give up horrendous goals.
He's gonna have one night where he gets shelled and they lose like 5-1. It's gonna happen.
Like I saw people kind of going after him about the OT goal against Tampa. But
I'm sorry,
Auston Matthews.
Yes.
That was one of the worst shifts of hockey I've ever seen in my entire life.
Dude, let's talk about the overtime thing. I have gone on rants on this podcast numerous times about how it blows my mind how fragile the professional athlete's psyche is. And it's like, you guys are professionals. You're the best hockey player in the world, the best hockey players in the world. Like, why is this infect you so much? And this hockey team, man, the second it goes to 3-on-3, you can just see the bench is like paralyzed with fear, and they're like, we can't win. We don't know how. It's just like Auston Matthews in the Tampa Bay game was horrendous shift, horrendous giveaway, because the guy is totally in his head. He's like, oh no, another overtime that we're going to lose. And you can just see it. And it's like,
I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
It goes against everything that this team is built on.
Yes.
This team was literally built on speed and skill and time with the puck and space. There is no time where you have more space than 3-on-3 overtime. And for some reason, you put your best players out there who are supposed to be one of the most skilled groups in the entire league, and they go out and they suck. They can't even, when they have possession, they can't get through, and then they give it away immediately. And usually these overtimes end pretty quickly. Like, it's not like they play for 3 minutes. They've lost 6 in a row in overtime. I'd say at least 3 of them, but within the first minute, they give the puck away and it's over. And like, I don't get it. It literally makes no sense. It makes zero sense.
Some sort of odd man rush back the other way, and yeah, it's in the back of the net. All right, I am Mitch Marner breaks a Leaf record, 19-game point streak. Where would you situate Mitch Marner on the Leaf depth chart right now? Specifically when it comes to him and Auston Matthews. You know, I think a lot of people, ourselves included, would say Auston Matthews is the greatest Maple Leaf of all time, Hart Trophy winner, Rocco Richard winner, et cetera, Calder Trophy winner. But Mitch Marner is dominant. He's a force of nature. Have you ever seen Auston Matthews dominate games the way Marner has in this 19-game run?
Well, when Marner's, I feel like I've said this in previous episodes, but he's just obvious. He's their best player when he's playing his best because he plays in all 3 situations. He plays on both special teams and he's in 5-on-5. And when he's playing his best, like his point to break the record against Tampa was a shorthanded goal for him anticipating a play and breaking it up and causing a scoring opportunity. Like, when this guy is on his game, he is the most important player on their hockey team, in my opinion.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah. That right there was what I was trying to get out of you. Like, do you think when he is playing like this, he's the straw that stirs the drink?
Yeah, of course. And he's the one who I need to apologize to the most for my crying at the start of the season. Like, we were going after him, and I know the whole thing with Keith didn't look good, but I mean, how would I not think that he would not round into form? He always does.
But this is beyond rounding into form. This is, you could legitimately sit and have a conversation right now. If someone came and sat in front of you and said Mitch Marner is a more important piece or is a better hockey player overall than Auston Matthews, you might not agree with it, but you're not just going to dismiss that take outright. Like, you're not going to.
No.
Like, if someone.
Especially this season.
Yeah, if someone came, like, it's not like you're going to look at that person and go, pfft. Like, no.
I find Auston Matthews would land in my hot takes right now. That I don't think he all this talk about him ruling the world when his contract ends, like, I'm sorry. I don't think he's even been a top 10 hockey player this year in the NHL.
Do you think he's
Jason Robertson's a better hockey player right now than Auston Matthews?
Do you think he's 100% healthy?
I don't know, but there's something off about him. He looks slow. He looks behind the play, and he's getting pucks in the slot and it's bouncing off a stick. Like, what's that about? He's not crisp at all. There's something about his game that's just not at that level that where it's been. He's just a step behind.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's nursing an injury, but one thing I will say is I think his 200-foot game is way better than it used to
fine.
be.
He's fine. Like, I'm not saying he's like when we're talking about Auston
you're not saying
Matthews,
he's bad. You're
no,
just saying,
like the expectations for this hockey player are so high that when I talk about him and I talk about Pierre Engvall playing well and playing bad, those are two completely different levels of expectation we're talking about here. Auston Matthews has been fine this whole year. He still has a okay amount of goals, okay amount of points. He's playing a good 200-foot game, but for a guy who is projected to sign the biggest contract in the history of the league, like, I'm not that impressed. Like, I don't think he's been that good.
Yeah, I think, again, I think there's still a long season to play, but I just think Mitch Marner is making a case right now that he is the most important player on this hockey team.
And I think William Nylander is the best 5-on-5 hockey player on this hockey team.
So since you're talking like full season.
Yeah, since the start of the season, I think William Nylander 5-on-5 has been the Toronto Maple Leafs' best hockey player.
Yep.
The guy who creates the most chances 5-on-5. There is nobody who skates through the neutral zone like that guy. He looks completely different. It's insane. But Marner with the penalty kill aspect kind of puts him a little bit ahead because he's been just as good 5-on-5. But it kind of always, I'm kind of relating it to Matthews, I think, where I think Auston Matthews might be their fourth best core forward player this season.
Yeah, thus far this season for sure.
He might be at the back of the pack.
Yeah, he's not been as impactful as the other guys. But at the end of the day with Auston Matthews, it's like he's won the individual accolades at this point. Just score a big goal in April or May.
Yeah, it's fine.
And I don't care. I don't care.
That goes for anybody.
Yeah.
That goes for anybody on this
even
hockey
Alex
team.
Kerfoot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Poor Alex Kerfoot, man.
I saw a stat. I think it was Luke Fox who posted it. That the top four forwards have accounted for 49% of the points for this hockey team, and they occupy 49% of the salary cap. Pretty crazy stat.
Yeah, it is a pretty crazy stat.
And there's the odd night where I can't watch the whole game. I'm out doing something, and I go and check the app, and you check the goals. There's Marner, there's Nylander, there's Tavares, there's Matthews. They're all over it. They are truly one of the most deadly groups in regular season hockey.
And the way the team is, how many times have I in the history of this pod go, the way this team is built, the way they're built, that's how they're going to have success. Like they have to be accounting for 49-50% of the offense every night because that's just the way they're built.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And when they're doing that, they look good.
Yes,
that's what they've been doing.
They do.
Simple as that.
So this is a really exciting moment in the history of the Talking Buds Leaf show. We've been brainstorming for weeks about what do we do? We got to do something. We come on here every week and we kind of just do the same thing. Like we sit here and we shoot the shit about this hockey team and some weeks we're good and then some weeks we watch the episode back and we're like, yikes.
Yeah.
So we're like, what can we do? What can we do? And obviously we love to have guests on. We're always working the phones, I guess, to try and get people to come on and talk to us. But at the same time, it's I don't think having media on here is something that you and I find overly exciting because you and I love to chirp the media a little bit on this pod because everything is just so with Morgan Riley on the shelf, they're going to struggle on the back end. It's yeah, thanks. Cool.
Yeah.
Good analysis.
Yeah.
So we're like, what should we do? And we were like, you know what? We've got a lot of great people who follow this podcast, who watch us every week, who hit us up in the YouTube comments. Let's talk to them because that's when we started this pod. We were like, this is the vibe we're going for. Two buddies, whether it's sitting here having a beer or sitting here having a coffee.
Sitting here having a country style.
Sitting here having a country style coffee.
Because the lineup at Timmy's is way too long.
Yeah. And that's the vibe we're going for. So each week we're going to open it up to a Talkin' Buds Leaf Show listener to send us a video giving us a hot take of what they want to hear or what they want to say. And then we'll discuss it and just more inclusion on this podcast.
Yeah.
So for the very first episode, we're really excited to open it up to our buddy, Rob Eddington. Day one Talking Buds listener, has been with us since the beginning. Great guy, great dude. And he sent us this video, and he's going to kick off the very first episode of the Talking Buds Leaf Show Pulse.
Hey boys, it's Rob from Newmarket, Ontario. Been a Leaf fan my whole life and a Talking Buds fan and listener since day one. Love what you boys are doing. It's a pleasure for me to come in here and give you my opinion on a couple things, I guess, or hot takes. First hot take will be Mitch Marner, the way he's been playing. He's going to lead them in the playoffs in points, and we're going to get by the first round. Secondly, we are not going to trade for another defenseman in our recent winning streak with all those D-men out, and we're going to get a top 6 forward. There's a couple for you guys to discuss there on the podcast. Keep up the good work, and I'd like to hear what you guys have to say.
Huge thank you to Rob Eddington for sending that in. What a beauty. Great guy. Thank you so much again, buddy.
Just wearing his Leaf jersey.
Yeah, I know. True fan.
Just a diehard.
True fan.
Love
it. First take, Mitch Marner is going to lead the Leafs in points in the playoffs, and they're going to get through the first round. I like the Marner aspect of that. I got to tell you, though, I really hope they can catch Boston here.
That's not happening.
Well, they better, because guess who they're playing in the first round if they don't?
They're going to have to do it. That's what's happening.
They're going to have to slay. So you're sitting here on December.
It's over. Division's over.
Division's over.
Yeah.
So you're sitting here in the early December saying Tampa's coming to Scotiabank Arena, or we're going to Amalie Arena for
unless
game one.
David Pasternak's out for the season, or unless they have a catastrophic injury where someone's season is done. The Boston Bruins are winning this division. 100%. Every morning I check the standings waiting for another L, and it never comes. They're 20-3. That is ridiculous. And they look really good.
Why are they so good?
I don't know. Because of the Bruins. They're always good. When are they not good? So it's just, I think we're kind of going towards what we think we're going towards. So we better be okay with it, because this team's not winning a division. And I hope Mitch Marner.
Another Tampa.
And I hope they go into Tampa, or Tampa comes to Toronto. And I hope Mitch Marner does. I hope one of these players finally has the series that we've been waiting for all these years. Who's going to take over the series? Hopefully it's Mitch Marner, but so far, if I'm a lawyer and I'm trying to argue a case of a player taking over a series, it's hard to argue because no one's done it yet.
You just got to have no fear, fellas. Like, have no fear. Like, just don't get in your own head. All right. Second take there, delivered by our buddy Rob, was given, a lot of injuries on the back end, but they've played pretty well defensively. So as we head towards the trade deadline, they're not going to target more defensive depth. They're going to target a top 6 forward. I love that take, and I hope that's what they do.
Yeah, we've had this conversation before. I don't think, first of all, I don't think they're getting anybody who's going to make a massive difference. They're going to get somebody as a depth piece. They're not going to get a top 6 forward.
You don't think they're getting a top?
How they get
But it doesn't have. So if you look at the depth chart of players around the league, are they going to go and get a guy who an expert would say is a top 6 forward? Maybe not. Probably not. Are they going to target a guy who can play on the left wing of that second line? That's what I hope they do, because it ain't Alex Kerfoot, and I would love nothing more than to see Nick Robertson settle in there, but my God, is he small. He is the short king of the National Hockey League, man. God, he's small. He looks like a minor hockey league player out there. Size-wise.
Nick Robertson has done nothing since that game against his brother.
And it's listen, he skates well, and he's like I said, he's got tons of upside, but man, oh man, does he look small out there. Jeez.
Well, going back to the point, I think they've always kind of gone out and tried to upgrade on their forwards. So like I could see that happening for sure. Like I just, in my opinion, I think they should go out and get the best available player at any position. Like if you the most impactful player you can get is a winger, then go get the winger. Or if it's a defenseman, go get the defenseman. Because adding a Jordy Ben on your D or a Jordy Ben forward equivalent on your forward group, it's just like what is that? Who cares about that? It's
I'd
just
like to get a guy who
go get the most impactful guy at any position you can get.
I'd like to get a guy who can make a bit of difference and hopefully play second line left wing, because I like I said, I worry about Nick Robertson size wise, and I am ready to retire from watching Alex Kerfoot play hockey.
I want them to go get a defenseman really badly.
Really
badly.
Okay, all right. I'm with Rob, and you're more on the.
I like all these guys. I like their defense, but like if they could just somehow get somebody somewhat impactful back there, especially a shutdown type of guy to push Justin Holl down, to push everybody down. Like that would be the biggest difference for me I would feel way more confident going into a playoff series, knowing that there's just an extra piece back there to defend against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This team should be good enough to score the goals. I like if you compare forward groups between Tampa and Toronto, like Tampa might have they have a better bottom six for sure. But like in terms of the overall scoring talent, like it's just, I don't think there's a big difference. But when I look at that D-core on Tampa, it's just they got a couple better players. Than the Leafs do.
Well, so who would you rank as their top 3 defensemen right now? Like not like forget injuries. Like would you go Riley, Brody, Liljegren?
I don't know.
Or Giordano? I would go those are my top 4. For the Leafs
I
now.
like Liljegren, but I think sometimes when a guy just steps into a role and just plays fine, sometimes our opinion can get elevated a little bit. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, but it's
like, do I think he's been great? Like, no, I don't.
Well,
I don't think he's been great. I think he's been good,
good,
and I think he's done his job.
I think he's been pretty good,
But
and I think if you have him slotted in as your 3rd or 4th guy, I think that's a perfect place for him.
But is he as good as a 3rd or 4th guy on other teams? Like, that's my point.
Yeah,
it's like if you put him on a good D-core, I don't think he's the 3rd or 4th guy.
But it's so subjective, right? Like if you
see, that's the thing. It's like you only watch what's in front of you.
And Alex Kerfoot's the perfect example. Like if some other team picked up Alex Kerfoot, you'd be like, this guy's played top 6 minutes for the Leafs. He could slot right in. And then you watch him.
And then you watch him in the NHL.
Yeah, and then you watch him go out there and skate around and do nothing.
He's a good penalty killer. That's it.
It's like my favorite line about Alex Kerfoot is, I've just never seen a hockey player try so hard to accomplish so little.
Yeah.
Guy skates his ass off out there and achieves
nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
He hasn't scored. He hasn't done it. Dude, like their bottom 6. Like realistically, like now kind of thinking about it, like they might need some help on their bottom 6 because their bottom 6, other than David Kampf, who I love. I love David Kampf. But other than that, Pierre Engvall, no thank you. Alex Kerfoot, no thank you. Zach Aston Reese, no thank you. And then the mishmash of dudes they have with Pontus and Wayne Simmons, and I don't know, maybe going out and getting another bottom 6 guy, if it doesn't cost you a lot, could help as well. I don't know. But my point with, like, sometimes when you're watching this team, it's like guys step into a role and they play well. They do their job. And we think that they're like, they might be good enough to fill that role, but then you start comparing them to other great hockey teams that actually have a chance to win the Stanley Cup. And is this guy impactful in that lineup?
You want to know what I think? I think the NHL is no different than most other leagues where you've got your elite players and you've got your pretty good players, and then you've got a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
And it's just teams plugging in guys in their 3rd and 4th lines, and some guys fit in better than others on certain teams. And that's just basically how it works.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're not wrong. Sometimes it's just like luck too. Like, like it's not, I don't know.
And sometimes guys have career seasons.
Yeah. But when you lose in the first round for 6 straight years, it's kind of like some of these teams, like some of these random hockey teams, like go to the second round.
Yeah, I
Or,
know.
like go to the third round.
I
Like
know.
whatever the Oilers in
Well,
the
that's
West final. Like
the-
you know, like
the you know, you and I have had our disagreements with all of our statistical friends out there who just lean on the numbers constantly, but a lot of them are like, they're just like, listen, it's like if you look at the numbers year over year, there's no rhyme or reason to it. Like it's random.
yeah.
Like it's totally like you can't predict what's going to happen based on what's happened previously, and it's random. And that's the point you just made. Like you look some years and you're like, how the hell is this team in the conference final? Because stuff just went their way. They got lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Leafs just haven't been lucky.
No.
It's that. And yes, have they wilted in certain moments, and could they have played harder, and could Freddie Anderson have made certain saves, and could Rasmus Sandy not turn the puck over in overtime, and this and that and the other thing. But it's just they need a bounce.
They do need a bounce really badly. But they also like you could also make the argument that they need somebody to like overcome the wanting and needing of a bounce. Like they need someone to just want it so bad that the bounce will go their way because they want it so
Look
bad.
at like the team that you and I love to pick on, that boggles my mind, is the Edmonton Oilers. Like, look at the two guys at the head of that team sucks, and look at the two guys.
Connor McDavid is at like a 2-point game pace.
Exactly, and Draisaitl's right behind him, and that team is terrible.
Like he's on pace for like 160 points.
Yes, it's wild.
But they've gone to the second round.
Yeah, I know.
Like
they went to the conference
with
final.
Bad goaltending.
Yes,
and like
they're a perfect
they've been
example.
a worse hockey team than the Leafs, and they've been to the Did they go to the conference final?
Yes, perfect example.
Yeah, they've won a round.
Yes.
Like that's what's so irritating.
Yes, I know.
Like if you go through all these teams over the past couple seasons who've made the playoffs, if you look at like the playoff tree, it's like this team won a round.
Yeah, and again, it's sometimes stuff breaks your way. Like Jared Bednar, ahead of the Cup final last year with the Avalanche, said they watched Leaf film.
Yeah,
like they went back to the and a part of this is the NHL's stupid playoff format, but they went back and watched film from the first round. And Florida Panthers, President's Trophy winner last year.
Yeah,
like
dummied.
record gone. Goodbye. Like it's totally random, and I'm totally coming around on that way of thinking after watching this. All right, we got to get out of here. We're sitting here talking our ass off.
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rob, for all that. Honestly, that might have been the best conversation we've had in weeks.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is why.
Oh my God. Some of these episodes.
Why you gotta check
the pulse.
You gotta check the pulse.
If you would like to be someone on the pulse, hit us up in our Instagram DMs. We'll get back to you. Send us a video, and we'll talk about it on the show. I know there's lots of you who are watching this that want to do it. Come on, step up. Step up. We're ready for you.
And we got to have this conversation too. What if someone wants to do it, but they don't want to be on video?
Then you can send us a voice note.
Yeah.
And we'll do that.
Well, we prefer the video.
Yeah, we prefer the video, but if you really don't want to be on video, you can send us a voice note and a picture of yourself.
If you do send us a voice note, it better be a good take.
Yeah,
better be a good take.
Absolutely. All right. Let's get out of here, buddy.
All right.
Thanks so much, everyone, for sticking with us and checking us out. If you like what you see, hit that like and subscribe.